This audiobook unveils the secret teachings of the 33rd degree of wealth, where abundance is not earned but summoned through inner mastery. Here, you'll remember that wealth is a frequency, and when you tune to its divine resonance, life itself becomes your treasury. 33rd degree. Wealth. Introduction. In the hidden rhythm of creation, wealth does not descend from the outer world. It rises from the silent chambers of consciousness. The 33rd degree of wealth unveils a truth once whispered among the initiates of old, that abundance is not seized by effort, but summoned through harmony with the infinite intelligence that breathes life into all things. This sacred wisdom teaches that wealth is a vibration, a celestial tone that answers only to the purity of thought and the precision of intent. Like a sacred chord struck upon the strings of the unseen, your inner resonance calls forth the form and fortune that mirror its frequency. When this law is understood, the endless chase for riches dissolves like mist before the morning sun. True prosperity does not come from striving. It unfolds naturally as your being aligns with the divine geometry of supply. For it is never the action of the hands, but the vibration of the heart that opens the gates of abundance. The masters of forgotten ages knew this, that wealth consciousness precedes the appearance of wealth itself. Within every soul sleeps a seed of infinite prosperity, waiting only for the warmth of remembrance to bloom. It is not a doctrine to be declared, but a living mystery to be embodied, until your very presence becomes proof of the unseen law. To rise into this degree of divine wealth, you must cast off the inherited illusions of lack and limitation. These shadows are not your truth. They are but echoes of collective dreams mistaken for reality. As they dissolve, your being returns to its natural rhythm, the frequency of abundance that has forever been your birthright. And so you awaken, not to something new, but to what your spirit has always known. You are the living conduit of divine provision, the vessel through which infinite supply flows without end. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Secret Geometry of Prosperity. Chapter 1. The Vault Within. You stand at the threshold of an ancient understanding, where wealth flows not from ceaseless pursuit, but from the still waters of inner knowing. In the rolling hills of a distant valley lived Clara May, whose days were spent in anxious pursuit of success. Each morning she would rise before dawn, her mind already racing with plans and schemes, her heart pounding with the fear of never having enough. Yet the more desperately she chased, the more prosperity seemed to slip through her fingers like morning mist. Through the wisdom of silence, Clara May discovered a truth that would transform her existence. In moments of quiet meditation, when her breath settled and her mind cleared, she felt a profound shift. The universe, she realized, responded not to her desperate wanting, but to her settled knowing. Each belief she held about wealth formed an invisible pattern around her being, a living lattice that either constricted or expanded the flow of abundance. In her journey, Clara May encountered an elderly gardener who lived on the outskirts of town. His cottage, though humble, radiated an inexplicable richness. In his garden, every plant seemed to thrive beyond natural measure. She observed as he tended each flower with the reverence one might reserve for precious gems. His weathered hands moved with unhurried grace, his attention fully present with each leaf and petal. "I speak to them as though they were pure gold," he shared, his eyes twinkling, "for in truth they are. Everything that grows does so from the same source of abundance. His garden flourished not through force or strain, but through the power of devoted attention." In his presence, Clara May understood that where consciousness flows, abundance grows. This truth extends beyond gardens into every aspect of existence. Your attention, like water to a seed, nurtures what it touches into full expression. The universe mirrors back the quality of your awareness, transforming thought into form with precise fidelity. As the sun sets and darkness wraps around you like a velvet cloak, find a quiet space for this ancient practice. Let your breath deepen naturally, each inhale filling you with divine presence, each exhale releasing all need and striving. Begin to repeat silently within your heart, "I am already all that I seek." Feel these words not as an affirmation to be forced, but as a truth to be remembered. Let this knowing vibrate through your being until the very air between your ribs hums with its quiet power. In this sacred space, need dissolves into knowing, and seeking transforms into being. Chapter 2. The Currency of Feeling. You will come to understand that true manifestation flows not from empty words, but from the depths of authentic feeling. This truth became clear through the life of Benny Lou, who once played his guitar in dim-lit taverns, his music falling on distracted ears. Night after night, he would recite affirmations of success, yet his words rang hollow in the empty venues. The turning point came when Benny Lou stopped forcing positivity and allowed himself to feel genuinely. During one performance, he closed his eyes and played not for acclaim, but for the pure joy of creation. His music, now infused with raw emotion, began to draw crowds who sensed the authenticity in every note. The universe, ever responsive, amplified what he truly felt rather than what he merely said. This principle of emotional resonance echoes through the tale of Sophia, a dancer who discovered her truth in an unexpected moment. On a rain-soaked evening, while others hurried for shelter, she removed her shoes and danced barefoot on the wet earth. With each step, gratitude welled up within her, gratitude for the rain, for the ground beneath her feet, for the simple act of movement. That pure appreciation transformed an ordinary moment into a gateway of infinite possibility. These two lives mirror a fundamental truth. The universe reflects back precisely what you broadcast into it. When Benny Lou shifted from mechanical affirmations to genuine joy, his music found its audience. When Sophia embraced gratitude in the rain, she opened herself to life's natural abundance. Their stories reveal that manifestation responds not to what you think you should feel, but to what truly resonates within your heart. As the sun sets on this day, an ancient practice awaits your discovery. Find a quiet moment and place your hand gently over your heart. Allow appreciation to rise naturally within you, not for anything specific, but as a pure, unbounded feeling. Let this warmth expand through your chest, filling every corner of your being like golden light flooding an empty room. Stay with this sensation until you sense the universe itself responding, as if all of life is smiling back at you through the mirror of your own heart's joy. This practice, handed down through generations of those who understood the secret language of manifestation, holds the power to align your being with the natural flow of abundance. The key lies not in the words spoken or the thoughts thought, but in the genuine feeling that radiates from your core. Chapter 3. The Silence Between Thoughts. In the early hours before dawn, you might find yourself, like Rosy June, feverishly clutching your journal, straining to manifest through sheer force of will. Your thoughts race with affirmations, your mind tense with effort, believing that if you just think harder, visualize longer, or affirm more intensely, abundance will finally flow. Yet the universe whispers a different truth. Wealth arrives not through strain, but through surrender. As your thoughts quiet, your natural frequency rises like morning mist from still waters. This is the paradox that escaped Rosy June as she filled her mornings with anxious visualization practices, her determination creating static that blocked the very prosperity she sought. One autumn morning, exhausted from her spiritual labors, Rosy June found herself beside an old stone pond. There sat Thomas, a widower whose simple presence carried the weight of wisdom. Without speaking, he motioned for her to sit. Together they watched the water's surface, mirror smooth in the dawn light. "Notice," he finally spoke, "how wealth mirrors this pond. When we disturb the surface with our striving, we cannot see what lies beneath. But in stillness, everything becomes clear." As the minutes passed in shared silence, Rosy June felt something shift within her being. The furious energy of her manifestation practices melted into a gentle knowing. She understood then that prosperity speaks the language of peace, not the frantic dialect of desperation. This truth extends to you now. Your abundance does not require force. It awaits your quiet recognition. When you cease the internal struggle, your energy naturally aligns with the frequency of wealth. Like a pond settling after a storm, your consciousness clears, revealing the prosperity that was always present. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space as evening approaches. Settle into a comfortable position and allow your attention to rest in the spaces between your thoughts. Notice how these gaps naturally widen, like clouds parting to reveal endless sky. Feel yourself supported by an ancient rhythm, the pulse of universal abundance. This is not emptiness you experience, but fullness, the very sound of wealth approaching in silence. Let this peaceful awareness be your new foundation for manifestation. Chapter 4. The Mirror Called Desire. In the quietude before dawn, you might recognize yourself in Rosy June, clutching her journal with white knuckles, straining to manifest through sheer force of will. Her thoughts raced with affirmations, her mind tense with effort, believing that if she just thought harder, visualized longer, or affirmed more intensely, abundance would finally flow. Yet the universe whispers a different truth. Wealth arrives not through strain, but through surrender. As thoughts quiet, your natural frequency rises like morning mist from still waters. This is the paradox that escaped Rosy June as she filled her mornings with anxious visualization practices, her determination creating static that blocked the very prosperity she sought. One autumn morning, exhausted from her spiritual labors, Rosy June found herself beside an ancient stone pond. There sat Thomas, a widower, whose simple presence carried the weight of wisdom. Without speaking, he motioned for her to sit. Together they watched the water's surface, mirror smooth in the dawn light. "Notice," he finally spoke, how wealth mirrors this pond. When we disturb the surface with our striving, we cannot see what lies beneath. But in stillness, everything becomes clear. As the minutes passed in shared silence, Rosie June felt something shift within her being. The furious energy of her manifestation practices melted into a profound calm. In that moment, she understood. The universe speaks in silence, and abundance flows through the spaces between thoughts. Thomas smiled knowingly. "The divine whispers in stillness," he said. "Your wealth exists already in the quiet spaces. Stop searching so hard for what has never left you." This truth echoes across time. When you cease the endless chatter of wanting and trying, your energy naturally aligns with the frequency of abundance. Like a pond settling after a storm, your mind clears, revealing the treasures that were always there, waiting to be noticed. The ancient practice of silent attraction. As twilight approaches, find a space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Notice the spaces between your thoughts, those precious moments of pure silence. Let these gaps widen gradually, like clouds parting to reveal the vast sky beyond. Feel yourself supported by an unseen rhythm, the pulse of universal abundance. This is the sound of wealth approaching in silence, the language of prosperity making itself known in the stillness of your being. Chapter 5. Invisible Architects. In a bustling city square, Millie Ruth stood before an empty storefront, her artist's heart racing as she traced invisible patterns in the air. For months, she had dreamed of opening her own art studio, yet every conventional path led to closed doors. But Millie Ruth possessed a gift. She saw meaning in moments others dismissed as chance. The morning she noticed 3 red cardinals landing in sequence before her apartment window, she felt a subtle shift in the air. Later that day, a stranger wearing a red scarf mentioned a vacant space in the arts district. When she arrived to view it, the building number matched the date of her first painting sale. These were not mere coincidences, but whispers from the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of life. The universe speaks through synchronicity, those moments when external circumstances align with internal truths. Each chance encounter, each meaningful number, each recurring symbol forms part of an elaborate language of destiny. As Millie Ruth followed these sacred breadcrumbs, she met Xavier, a wanderer who carried only what fit in his backpack, yet seemed to attract exactly what he needed, precisely when he needed it. "The universe responds not to careful plans," he shared, "but to unwavering trust. When you step forward in faith, reality rearranges itself to match your conviction." His words illuminated a truth. Synchronicity flourishes not in the soil of cautious calculation, but in the garden of bold belief. Each time Millie Ruth honored these subtle signs, more appeared. A conversation overheard in a cafe led to her first investor. A wrong turn brought her face to face with her future mentor. Within weeks, the perfect studio space revealed itself, not through conventional channels, but through a tapestry of meaningful coincidences that could not be dismissed. The building's history, location, and even its previous owner's story wove perfectly into her own narrative. This principle extends beyond mere manifestation. It reveals the interconnected nature of all experience. When you align with the flow of divine timing, life becomes less about forcing outcomes and more about reading the signs that guide you home to your desires. The ancient practice of synchronized attraction. As the first light of dawn touches your eyes, before thought can cloud pure intention, whisper these words into the morning air. Everything cooperates with my joy. Let this truth settle into your bones as you move through your day. Watch for the signs, the meaningful numbers, the timely encounters, the recurring themes that catch your attention. Expect graceful alignment until coincidences feel as natural as breathing. The universe is always speaking. Your task is simply to listen with an open heart. Chapter 6. The Weight of Words. The words you speak weave the fabric of your reality, crafting either gates or barriers between you and universal abundance. In a small coastal town, Harold Dean's voice echoed with the language of limitation. "There's never enough," he would mutter while counting coins at his modest shop. "Times are hard," he'd remind his customers, unknowingly conducting an orchestra of scarcity. Each utterance crystallized into experience, each complaint magnetized more reasons to complain. The law resonates with absolute precision. Your words are decrees to the infinite, commands to the substance of creation itself. Harold's reality mirrored his rhetoric with unwavering fidelity until his shelves grew as bare as his expectations. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, placed Thomas the poet in Harold's path. Thomas lived in apparent simplicity, yet abundance flowed through his life like a gentle stream. Each morning he would walk along the shore, weaving words of beauty and possibility into the salt air. "Watch," Thomas told Harold one morning, "as I speak to the dawn." His voice carried neither demand nor desperation, but the quiet authority of one who knows their place in the cosmic dance. Light spills gold upon the waters. Abundance flows through every breath. Each moment brings new treasures in the infinite dance of giving. Through Thomas, Harold discovered the ancient art of speaking life into being. Words are vessels of power. They either imprison or liberate, contract or expand. When Harold began to narrate abundance instead of lack, the very air around him shifted. His shop slowly transformed as his language evolved, each positive declaration attracting its physical counterpart. The transformation wasn't in the words alone, but in the feeling they carried. Harold learned to infuse his speech with the energy of gratitude, to speak as though abundance were already present. His "thank you" became a song of recognition for wealth already received, rather than a plea for what was lacking. Now, in the sacred space of this moment, you are invited to participate in this timeless practice of verbal alchemy. Find a quiet place where your voice can resonate freely. Let your breath settle into a natural rhythm. Then, with the power of one who commands the elements, speak these words. "Life yields to my gladness." Repeat this phrase until you feel it vibrating in your cells, until each syllable carries the weight of absolute knowing. Let the words dissolve the boundary between speaking and being, until prosperity becomes as natural as breathing. This is not mere repetition, but the ancient art of speaking reality into form. Chapter 7. The Art of Allowing. In a small village among rolling hills lived Susie Pearl, whose garden remained perpetually barren. Each morning she would plant her seeds with meticulous care, only to dig them up hours later, examining their dormant shells for signs of life. Day after day, she replanted and uprooted, her hands trembling with anxious anticipation, wondering why abundance eluded her grasp. The universal truth lies not in the planting, but in the allowing. When you release your grip on timing, the law of attraction works through nature's perfect rhythm. Your role is not to force growth, but to maintain unwavering faith in the invisible process of manifestation. Just as a seed contains within itself the complete blueprint of the flower, your desires hold the pattern of their own fulfillment. Many believe patience is passive waiting, but true allowing is an active state of trust. It is the art of holding steady in your knowing while the universe arranges all elements for your highest good. Your task is not to supervise creation, but to align with its natural flow. In this alignment, time becomes your ally rather than your adversary. In the same village lived Thomas, a beekeeper whose wisdom flowed as sweetly as his honey. When his hives fell silent one season, he noticed how the other beekeepers frantically intervened, smoking their hives and harvesting too soon. Thomas instead sat quietly beside his quiet boxes, listening and observing. He understood that the bees operated on their own divine schedule. "The honey comes," he would say, "when harmony returns to the hive." Sure enough, as others' hives struggled, Thomas's colonies gradually restored their own balance. The honey flowed more abundantly than ever before, all because he trusted the wisdom of natural law. This story mirrors your own journey with manifestation. When you cease struggling against divine timing, you enter a state of graceful allowing. Your desires are like Thomas's bees. They know exactly how to create abundance when given space to follow their innate intelligence. The practice of sacred trust. Find a quiet moment as twilight approaches. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Imagine your desires as seeds planted in rich, dark soil. Feel the absolute certainty that these seeds know exactly how to grow. Smile gently, knowing that beneath the surface, intricate processes are already in motion. Let your breath deepen as you release the need to control or supervise. Simply rest in the knowing that what you seek is steadily making its way to you. Maintain this peaceful certainty for several minutes, allowing yourself to feel the joy of trust. Chapter 8. The Equation of Joy. In a bustling city market, Freddie Lee stood frozen before his empty merchant stall, clutching a letter of termination. After 20 years of service, the trading company had dissolved overnight. Yet in that moment of apparent loss, a strange lightness bubbled up from his chest, an inexplicable urge to laugh at the cosmic joke of it all. Your relationship with abundance transforms when you grasp this eternal truth. Joy is not a reaction to circumstances, but a choice that transcends them. The universe responds not to your external conditions, but to your internal frequency. When you anchor your happiness to material success, you reverse the natural order of creation. Most believe wealth leads to joy, yet this inverts the magnetic principle of attraction. Joy is the magnet that draws prosperity, not its byproduct. Your emotional state broadcasts a signal that the universe must match in kind. When you maintain joy regardless of circumstance, you align with the highest frequency of abundance. Near Freddie's empty stall worked Anton, an aging painter whose canvases rarely sold. Yet each morning, His laughter rang through the marketplace as he mixed his colors and greeted passers-by. Even when rain threatened his paintings or customers passed without notice, his joy never dimmed. "The colors dance whether anyone sees them or not," he would say, chuckling as he added another stroke. Gradually, people began lingering at his stall, drawn not to his art at first, but to his infectious happiness. Soon his paintings started selling, first one, then many, until galleries sought him out. His joy had become a beacon that prosperity couldn't resist. As Freddie watched Anton's transformation, he understood. His own loss wasn't a punishment, but an invitation to discover joy's independence from external success. The more he laughed in the face of emptiness, the more abundance flowed toward him in unexpected ways. The ancient practice of joyful magnetism. Find a private space where you won't be disturbed. Stand with your feet firmly planted on the ground. Begin with a gentle smile, then gradually let it grow until it fills your entire face. Start laughing softly, then increase the volume and intensity until your whole body shakes with mirth. Let the laughter bubble up from your belly, freeing any stagnant energy trapped in your chest. Continue for at least 1 minute, allowing the vibration to loosen any tension around lack or limitation. Feel how this pure joy, untethered from reason, shifts your entire energetic field into a frequency that naturally attracts abundance. Chapter 9. The Hidden Door of Gratitude. In a small cottage at the edge of a quiet village lived Minnie Fay, whose simple life held more abundance than many could perceive. Each morning she would wake to admire the sunlight filtering through her worn curtains, thanking the rays for their warmth. Her wooden table might have been scratched, but she blessed it for holding her meals. Her garden, though modest, provided vegetables that she celebrated as if they were precious gems. The secret lies not in what you possess, but in the energy you direct toward what surrounds you. Gratitude operates as a magnetic force, a vibrational frequency that multiplies whatever it touches. When you truly appreciate what exists in your life, you activate an ancient law that transforms scarcity into abundance. This truth reveals itself through the natural world. A single seed, when planted in fertile soil and tended with care, produces not one, but hundreds of seeds. Similarly, genuine gratitude creates a fertile field in consciousness where prosperity naturally multiplies. The universe responds not to the size of your possessions, but to the magnitude of your appreciation. In a neighboring village lived an aging potter named Chen, whose studio housed countless imperfect vessels. Where others saw flaws, Chen discovered beauty. One day, a crack appeared in his finest piece just before firing. Instead of discarding it, he filled the crack with gold powder mixed into his glaze. The result transformed the imperfection into an elegant golden river flowing across the pottery's surface. His grateful acceptance of what others termed misfortune became his signature style, drawing collectors from distant lands. This wisdom speaks directly to your own journey. Each circumstance, whether deemed favorable or challenging, contains seeds of abundance when viewed through eyes of appreciation. The cracks in your life's vessel may become the very channels through which golden opportunities flow. Notice how Minnie Fay's contentment with her simple cottage attracted unexpected gifts, neighbors sharing their harvest, friends offering help, opportunities arising as naturally as breath. Her gratitude created an energy field that magnetized more reasons to be grateful. The potter's tale mirrors this truth. Appreciation doesn't merely accept what is, it transforms it into something greater. Chen's grateful perspective turned apparent misfortune into artistic innovation, proving that thankfulness holds creative power. Before bed tonight, rest your head upon your pillow and gather in your heart 3 experiences from today that brought you joy. Perhaps it was the warmth of sunlight on your face, the taste of morning coffee, or a kind word from a stranger. Feel each one not as a memory, but as a living presence still occurring now. Let appreciation flow through you until your entire being resonates with thankfulness. This practice attunes your energy to the frequency of abundance, ensuring that what you appreciate appreciates in return. Chapter 10. Wealth, the Living Frequency. In the bustling financial district, Charlie Liu rushed between meetings, his expensive watch marking each precious second. Despite his material success, an undercurrent of anxiety followed him like a shadow. Yet one afternoon, everything changed when he noticed something peculiar about his most prosperous clients. They moved through life with an unhurried grace. You see, true wealth resonates at a specific frequency, one of deep, unwavering peace. This vibration cannot be purchased or pursued. It emerges naturally when you align with the universe's abundant nature. Those who have accessed this state understand that prosperity flows not from pressure, but from presence. When you release the desperate grip of wanting, you enter a state of coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and surrender merge into what the ancients called the 33rd degree, a level of consciousness where abundance becomes your natural state of being. At this frequency, wealth is attracted not through force, but through harmony. Along the mountain path, where Charlie Liu often walked to clear his mind, lived a hermit in a simple dwelling. Despite owning little, the old man's smile radiated such contentment that it seemed to illuminate the air around him. Those who passed by felt inexplicably lighter, as though his presence alone dispensed invisible riches. The secret, the hermit shared one day, his eyes twinkling, is that enlightenment itself is the highest form of abundance. When you realize this truth, you understand that wealth was never about accumulation. It was always about vibration. Through this encounter, Charlie Liu discovered that the chase for prosperity had led him away from the very energy that attracts it. In stillness, he found what activity could never provide: the frequency of true abundance. Your own journey to this elevated state begins with a simple yet powerful practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Inhale deeply, exhale softly, and imagine golden light pulsing from your chest, steady, generous, and unending. This is what millions feel like in energy form. Let this radiance expand with each breath, dissolving any tension around money or success. Feel yourself becoming the source of abundance rather than its seeker. Part 2. The Science of Sacred Magnetism. Chapter 11. The Resonance of Belief. In a small town where generations had woven their stories into its fabric, Lila Jo stood before her grandmother's antique mirror, counting the day's earnings from her shop. Within her heart, 2 voices warred. Her father's constant refrain that money is the root of all evil clashed with her mother's belief that abundance is our divine birthright. You carry within you the invisible threads of belief passed down through bloodlines and whispered lessons. These patterns hum beneath your conscious thoughts, creating a frequency that shapes your reality more powerfully than any deliberate intention. Like radio waves that play their melody whether you acknowledge them or not, these inherited beliefs broadcast their signal into the universe. The law of attraction responds not to what you say you believe, but to the deep vibrations of your unconscious certainty. When your conscious desires conflict with your inherited patterns, it is always the deeper current that prevails. This is why some find their greatest intentions seemingly thwarted by an unseen hand. They are attempting to override their ancestral frequency with surface-level affirmations. In the heart of town lived an old tailor whose skilled hands could transform the roughest fabric into garments of beauty. Watching him work one afternoon, Lila Joe noticed how he never fought the fabric's natural grain. Instead, his gentle fingers found the flow within each piece, working with its inherent pattern rather than against it. "See how the thread knows where it wishes to go," he said, his needle dancing in the light. "Our beliefs are much the same. We cannot force them to change, but we can lovingly guide them into new forms." With each stitch, he showed her how transformation comes not through struggle, but through patient attention and tender reshaping. Just as the tailor understood that every piece of cloth holds its own wisdom, you too must recognize that your inherited patterns about wealth carry their own intelligence. They served a purpose for those who came before you. Yet now, with conscious awareness, you can begin to weave new patterns that align with your highest good. Let this ancient practice guide your transformation. As dawn breaks, find a quiet moment when the world still dreams. Whisper softly, "Only love designs my fortune." Let these words float through your consciousness like golden threads, weaving themselves into the fabric of your being. Continue until you feel the phrase has become part of your essential pattern, a new inheritance you choose for yourself. This gentle repatterning aligns your deepest beliefs with the abundance that seeks expression through you. Chapter 12. The Alchemy of Vision. In a quiet art studio bathed in morning light, Daisy Clare stood before an empty canvas, her hand trembling slightly as she held her brush. For years, she had studied the techniques of master painters, analyzing their work from a safe distance. Yet her own creations remained lifeless copies, lacking the spark of authentic vision. The universe whispers a truth that many fail to grasp. Observation alone cannot manifest your desires. You must step into the reality you wish to create, allowing it to fill your bones and pulse through your blood. When you merely watch abundance from afar, you remain a spectator to prosperity rather than its living embodiment. One morning, an elderly painter named Solomon visited Daisy's studio. Without speaking, he took up his brush and began to paint. His eyes held a curious light. They seemed to see not the blank canvas before him, but something far more beautiful, already complete. "Before my hand moves," he said softly, "I have already walked through the finished painting in my mind. I have touched its texture, breathed its air, felt its warmth. The physical act of painting is merely allowing what already exists in the ethereal realm to flow through me into this world." This truth extends far beyond art. It is the very essence of manifestation. The universe responds not to what you observe, but to what you become. When you truly embody the frequency of abundance, you no longer need to chase prosperity. Instead, you allow it to emerge naturally through you. like paint flowing from Solomon's brush. The mistake lies in believing that imagination is mere fantasy. In truth, it is the blueprint that reality follows. Your ability to vividly experience your desired life within your mind creates a resonance that the physical world must match. This is not pretending. It is previewing what must inevitably manifest when your inner vision is held with unwavering clarity. As Solomon completed his painting, he turned to Daisy and smiled. "The secret," he said, "is not in the technique, but in the knowing. When you can see the masterpiece so clearly that the blank canvas becomes the illusion, the universe has no choice but to make your vision real." Ancient practice of living vision. Find a quiet space where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and allow your breath to become slow and steady. Begin to visualize your highest life with such vivid detail that it feels more real than the room around you. See the space you occupy. Feel the clothes against your skin. Hear the sounds that fill your environment. Let yourself fully inhabit this reality, not as a distant dream, but as your present truth. Notice how your body responds to this alignment, how your energy shifts to match this frequency. Allow that version of you to breathe through today, making choices and moving through the world as though your vision has already manifested. Chapter 13. The Tides of Trust. A gentle rain fell on the harbor as Ruthie Ann paced her office, surrounded by spreadsheets and business plans. Each morning she arrived before sunrise to meticulously chart every detail of her company's growth. Her grip on control was as tight as the knots in her shoulders, yet success remained elusive, slipping through her fingers like water. What you resist persists. The harder you squeeze the reins of life, the more its natural rhythm eludes you. True abundance flows not from force, but from faith. When you release your anxious hold on outcomes, you align with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. The universal law reveals itself through cycles of expansion and contraction. In moments of trust, your energy field expands, becoming a magnetic vessel for prosperity. But when fear prompts you to grasp and control, your energy contracts, creating resistance to the very abundance you seek. One misty morning, Ruthie Ann noticed an old fisherman named Thomas preparing his boat. While other vessels fought against the tide, Thomas simply drifted with the current, dropping his nets with peaceful certainty. To her amazement, his catch proved more bountiful than all others combined. "The fish know where to find me," he smiled, "because I trust the water's wisdom. The current knows more than my plans ever could." His words carried ancient truth. When you surrender to the divine current, you tap into a power greater than personal will. The universe operates through perfect order. Your role is not to direct the flow, but to align with its natural movement. Tonight, find a quiet space where you can stand tall and undisturbed. Plant your feet firmly on the ground, feeling Earth's steady support beneath you. Take a deep breath, filling your lungs with pure faith in life's benevolence. As you exhale, release all tension, all need to control, all resistance to what is. Let your body sway gently, like seaweed in the ocean's embrace. Whisper internally, "I flow with the tide of divine supply." Feel these words resonate through every cell, dissolving the illusion of separation between you and the infinite stream of abundance. You are not separate from supply. You are supply itself in motion. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. Wealth as Worship. In a small flower shop at the edge of town, Perry Jack stood among blooming roses and fragrant lilies, his heart heavy with conflict. Though his business provided enough to live comfortably, a yearning for greater prosperity gnawed at him. Each time abundance knocked at his door, guilt swept through him like a cold wind, whispering that wanting more was somehow wrong. The universe speaks through your desires. They are not random impulses or selfish wants, but divine messages flowing through you. When you feel drawn toward greater abundance, you are receiving signals from the infinite intelligence that seeks to express itself more fully through your experience. Your desire for expansion mirrors the very nature of life itself. Look to the flowers. They reach endlessly toward the sun, growing ever more magnificent without apology. The tree does not question its impulse to spread its branches wider each season. The river never doubts its right to flow toward the vast ocean. In the garden behind her shop, Sophia the florist spent each morning speaking softly to her flowers. "Every bloom deserves to open fully," she would say, gently tending each petal. Under her appreciative gaze, the flowers grew more vibrant, more abundant than any others in town. Her secret was simple. She saw beauty as its own reward, requiring no justification. This truth extends beyond gardens into every aspect of life. When you embrace your natural inclination toward growth, you honor the creative force that expresses itself through you. Your appreciation for beauty, comfort, and abundance is not separate from spiritual truth. It is spiritual truth in action. The guilt that holds you back stems from a misunderstanding. You are not meant to deny your desires, but to recognize them as sacred impulses calling you toward greater expression. Just as a flower unfolds naturally in the presence of sunlight, your life is meant to expand in the presence of appreciation. The ancient practice of sacred appreciation. As twilight approaches, create a space of reverence. Light a single candle, not as a plea for more, but as recognition of the abundance already flowing through your life. Let its flame remind you that the same creative force that ignites the stars expresses itself through your desires. Sit quietly in its glow, feeling gratitude not for what you wish to receive, but for the privilege of being a channel through which universal abundance flows. Let this light remind you that your appreciation for life's beauty is itself a form of worship. Chapter 15. The Frequency of Forgiveness. In the bustling marketplace, Nellie Kate sat alone at her empty stall, watching customers flock to her former partner's thriving business across the way. Bitterness had carved deep lines around her mouth, and though she whispered abundance affirmations daily, her prosperity remained stagnant, trapped behind a wall of unspoken grievances. When you hold resentment, you create resistance within your energetic field. Like a dam blocking a river's flow, unforgiveness obstructs the natural current of abundance. Each grievance you harbor becomes a weight, anchoring you to the very circumstances you wish to transcend. The universe cannot deliver fresh blessings through channels clogged with old hurts. To manifest, is to allow energy to flow freely through you. This requires releasing all that restricts this sacred current. Forgiveness is not about condoning actions or denying hurt. It is about freeing yourself from energetic bonds that no longer serve your highest good. When you release others, you release yourself. In the quiet corner of the marketplace, an old watchmaker named Thomas worked with steady hands and peaceful eyes. His tiny shop drew a stream of satisfied customers, though he charged less than others for his craft. One day, Nellie Kate brought him a timepiece that had stopped working. "See these gears," he said, showing her the intricate mechanism. "When dust and debris build up, everything stops. But watch what happens when I apply this special oil." As he worked, the accumulated grime dissolved, and with a gentle click, the watch sprang back to life. "Forgiveness," he smiled, "works much the same way. It cleanses the mechanisms of life, restoring natural movement." "The watch doesn't forget what caused it to stop," he continued, wrapping her timepiece carefully. "But once cleaned, it can fulfill its purpose again." This is the gift of letting go, the ancient practice of golden release. Find a quiet moment as twilight approaches. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing your awareness to settle into your heart space. Picture each person connected to unresolved hurt or resentment. One by one, envision them surrounded by healing golden light. As this light grows brighter, feel it dissolving the energetic cords binding you together. With each breath, repeat softly, "I set you free. We are both richer now." Let this golden light expand until it fills your entire being, transmuting all heavy energies into pure potential. Feel the lightness that comes with release, knowing that as you free others, you free yourself to receive all that awaits you. Chapter 16. The Magnetic Heart. In the heart of a bustling city, Georgie Lou paced her study, surrounded by walls of certificates and degrees. Charts tracking manifestation progress filled her notebooks, and vision boards constructed with mathematical precision adorned her walls. Yet abundance remained elusive, dancing just beyond her grasp. Your intellect serves as a magnificent tool, but it cannot replace the magnetic power of genuine emotion. The universe responds not to the precision of your plans, but to the resonance of your heart's song. When you align your emotional frequency with what you seek, you create a bridge across which abundance naturally flows. At the core of manifestation lies heart coherence, the harmonious state where your physical, emotional, and energetic rhythms synchronize with the universal pulse. This sacred alignment occurs not through calculation, but through the courage to feel deeply. In the high peaks of the Himalayas, a mountain climber named Zhang discovered this truth. As he approached the summit, his carefully planned route crumbled before him. The path he had meticulously mapped vanished beneath unexpected snow. In that moment, fear gripped him, until he remembered his teacher's words. The mountain responds not to your mind, but to your heart. Zhang closed his eyes and allowed himself to feel love for the mountain. Not conquest, not achievement, just pure appreciation for its majesty. In that instant, as his heart opened, so did the way forward. A path he couldn't have planned revealed itself, leading him not just to the summit, but to an inner peak of understanding. The same chamber in your heart that holds love also houses courage, trust, and abundance. This ancient truth whispers still. When you open your heart to life, life opens its heart to you. Your thoughts may chart the course, but your emotions set the sail. The universe mirrors not your strategies, but your state of being. The practice of heart radiance. Find a quiet space and place your hand over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm beneath your palm. Imagine a brilliant emerald light glowing within your chest, pulsing with each heartbeat. Let this light expand until it fills your entire being. Then, with eyes closed and voice soft, speak these words of power. Everything I love loves me back. Allow the vibration of these words to resonate through your body until you feel the truth of them in every cell. Chapter 17. The Ladder of Vibration. Along a quiet street in a small town, Virgil Tom sat in his dim apartment, frantically scribbling affirmations of instant wealth. "I am a millionaire now," he wrote repeatedly, even as unpaid bills gathered dust on his desk. His desperate leap from financial struggle to abundance left him exhausted and disheartened. Like music, the frequencies of manifestation follow natural progression. You cannot force a seed to become a tree overnight, nor can you jump from the lowest note to the highest without passing through the octaves between. The secret lies not in demanding the peak, but in understanding the gentle ascension of vibration. The universe responds to authentic resonance. When you attempt to bypass the natural steps of emotional elevation, you create resistance rather than attraction. Each improved thought, each lighter feeling, becomes a note in the symphony of manifestation. In an old concert hall, a master pianist named Wei taught this wisdom through his art. Each morning, he began not with complex compositions, but with simple scales. "Listen," he would say to his students, "how each note leads naturally to the next." His fingers would dance from middle C, rising gradually through the octaves. The melody grew richer, fuller, more complex, but always in harmony with what came before. Wei's method revealed a fundamental truth. Mastery comes through progression, not force. Those who rushed to play advanced pieces without building the foundation found their music hollow, their fingers stumbling. But those who honored each step, who found satisfaction in the simple scales, discovered that complexity emerged naturally from simplicity. So too with the vibration of abundance. Your journey from where you stand to where you wish to be follows a natural scale. From the heavy notes of despair, you can move to the lighter tones of relief. From relief, hope emerges. From hope springs optimism, and from optimism blooms joy. Each step, however small, tunes your frequency higher. Sacred practice. As the sun sets today, pause and notice one thought that feels slightly better than your usual patterns. Perhaps it's a moment of relief, a flash of possibility, or a breath of peace. Let this thought rest in your heart, not as a stepping stone to be rushed past, but as a note to be savored. Feel its resonance without reaching for the next. In this gentle acceptance of where you are, you allow your vibration to rise naturally, like music finding its way home. Chapter 18. Inspired Action. In a bustling marketplace, Betsy Ray darted from stall to stall, her arms laden with papers and plans. She maintained 3 calendars, attended every networking event, and filled every hour with tasks. Yet despite her ceaseless motion, success remained elusive, like water slipping through grasping fingers. The universe operates through the law of inspired action. When you align with this divine current, effort transforms into effortlessness. True productivity flows not from the quantity of movement, but from its quality. Each action births from joy, creates ripples of abundance in the cosmic ocean. You need not chase opportunity. It seeks those who vibrate in harmony with its nature. The difference between forced action and inspired movement lies in the feeling that precedes it. When you act from internal pressure, you push against the natural order. But when you move from inspiration, the universe itself becomes your ally. In a quiet valley lived an old kite maker named Chen. His workshop sat empty most days, his tools untouched. Yet when the wind whispered through his window, he would smile and begin his craft. Those who watched him work spoke of magic, how his hands seemed guided by an invisible force, how each kite he created found its perfect owner. "The wind knows," he would say, running his fingers along the delicate paper. "I simply listen and follow." His kites, though fewer in number than those mass-produced in factories, brought him abundance beyond measure. Each creation carried the signature of divine timing. One day, Betsy Ray stumbled upon Chen's workshop during one of her frantic business ventures. She found him sitting quietly, seemingly doing nothing. "Why aren't you working?" she asked, clutching her overfull schedule. Chen smiled and held up a finger to the air. "I am working," he replied. "I am waiting for the wind." As if on cue, a gentle breeze rustled through the workshop. Chen rose with fluid grace and began crafting. His movements flowed like water, each action precise and purposeful. In one afternoon, he completed a masterpiece that sold for more than Betsy Ray earned in a month of rushing. The wind that guides inspired action blows through your life as intuition, excitement, and deep knowing. When you feel its gentle touch, your movements align with the universe's grand design. Each step becomes not just motion, but meaning. Sacred practice. Before initiating any action, pause and place your hand upon your heart. Draw a deep breath and feel the quality of energy within. Does joy rise like morning sunlight? Does enthusiasm sparkle in your cells? Then move forward, carried by this divine current. But if heaviness weighs upon your spirit, if strain clouds your inner sky, bow to stillness. Wait for the wind of inspiration to guide your way. In this sacred patience, you align with the timing of abundance itself. Chapter 19. The Shadow of Doubt. A weathered traveler trudged along a mountain path, his feet weary from endless wandering. Hank Oliver carried 2 bags, one filled with golden dreams, the other weighted with doubt. Each step forward brought him closer to his vision, yet each pause filled him with uncertainty. His journey mirrors your own sacred path toward abundance. The ancient wisdom reveals that doubt serves not as your adversary, but as your guide. Like a compass pointing north, your uncertainties illuminate the spaces within that yearn for healing. When fear whispers in your ear, it speaks not of external dangers, but of internal wounds awaiting your loving attention. In the heart of doubt lies a sacred invitation, a call to strengthen your connection with the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. Each moment of hesitation offers an opportunity to deepen your trust in the universal flow. Your fears, rather than obstacles, become stepping stones toward unwavering faith. In a small village square, a humble candle seller named Maya taught this truth through her craft. Each morning she collected the melted remnants of doubt-filled prayers. "Fear," she would say, her eyes twinkling, is but wax waiting to be transformed into light. She gathered these fragments of uncertainty, melting them down with practiced hands. From what was once darkness, she crafted new candles, each one a testament to transformation. As you stand at the threshold of your own becoming, remember that doubt does not diminish your power. It refines it. Like Maya's candles, your fears can be remolded into beacons of certainty. The universe asks not for perfect faith, but for honest engagement with your journey of trust. Your relationship with uncertainty shapes your magnetic field. When you embrace doubt as a teacher, rather than a tormentor, you transmute its energy into deeper wisdom. Each wave of uncertainty carries within it the seeds of stronger conviction. Maya's final candle always burned the brightest, for it contained the essence of transformed fear. "Look," she would whisper to those who gathered, "see how your doubts now light the way." Through her art, she revealed that what we resist persists, but what we embrace transforms. The practice. When uncertainty rises within you, place your hand gently over your gut, the seat of your inner knowing. Feel the warmth of your palm as you softly murmur, "Thank you for guiding me to deeper belief." Let this simple ritual transform your doubt into a sacred dialogue with the infinite, knowing that each moment of uncertainty leads you closer to unshakable trust. Chapter 20. The Infinite Exchange. In a small mountain village, Addie May lived in a cottage filled with treasures she dared not share. Gold coins lined her shelves in neat stacks, precious gems filled her drawers, and valuable heirlooms gathered dust behind locked doors. Each morning, she counted her possessions, finding comfort in their presence while fear gnawed at her heart. The universal law of circulation moves through all things. Like the breath that sustains life, inhaling and exhaling in perfect rhythm, wealth must flow freely to maintain its vitality. When you grasp too tightly, you interrupt this sacred dance. Your abundance multiplies not through retention, but through movement. The universe operates in cycles of giving and receiving, like the ocean's eternal tides. Each wave that recedes makes way for another to surge forward. This is the rhythm of prosperity, a continuous flow that knows no beginning or end. In the same village lived Thomas, a humble baker. Each morning he shared fresh loaves with those who couldn't afford them. "The bread returns," he would say, smiling as he worked his dough. And return it did. His generosity created a current of goodwill that drew more customers than he could serve. His small bakery expanded, not through careful hoarding, but through joyful sharing. One morning, watching Thomas's thriving business, Addie May understood. Her wealth had become stagnant, like water trapped in a pond. She opened her doors and began to share, first a coin, then a gem, then her wisdom about investments. With each gift, she felt lighter, freer, and strangely more secure. Her rigid grip on prosperity softened into trust. The universe responds not to what you keep, but to what you circulate. Every act of giving creates space for receiving. This is not mere exchange. It is the breath of abundance itself, moving through you as naturally as air fills your lungs. Ancient practice. Release one precious thing today, be it money, time, or talent. Feel the joy of creating space for new abundance. As you give, whisper inwardly, "I am a channel of infinite supply." Watch how swiftly the universe fills the space you've opened with unexpected blessings. Part 3. The Living Proof of Abundance. Chapter 21. The Embodiment Principle. Joey Pearl stood before her mirror each morning, reciting affirmations of abundance. "I am wealthy. I am prosperous," she would declare, yet her shoulders remained slumped, her voice quiet, her movements hesitant. Though her words spoke of riches, her being whispered of lack. The truth of manifestation lies not in words alone, but in the full spectrum of your expression. Your body, voice, and actions form the living language through which the universe recognizes your alignment with abundance. When you embody wealth, you become a natural conduit for its expression. Watch how those who live in abundance move through the world. They step with unhurried grace, speak with measured confidence, and carry themselves as though supported by invisible hands. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. Their external presence mirrors their internal certainty. In the artisan quarter of an ancient city, a painter named Sophia worked in her modest studio. Before each piece was complete, she would select an elegant frame, positioning it carefully against her wall. Other artists questioned her practice of investing in frames before making a sale. Sophia simply smiled, continuing her ritual of preparation. "The frame," she would say, "is not for the buyer. It is for the painting to know its worth." Her works, treated with such reverence from their inception, soon attracted collectors who recognized their value. Sophia's success flowed not from her talent alone, but from her unwavering embodiment of artistic prosperity. Your physical presence broadcasts a frequency more powerful than any affirmation. When you move through space as though abundance accompanies every step, you tune your entire being to wealth's vibration. Your cells become living affirmations, your gestures silent prayers of gratitude. Ancestral wisdom reveals that transformation begins in the body. To attract prosperity, you must first become its living vessel. Let your spine rise with dignity, your hands move with purpose, your eyes shine with quiet knowing. This is not pretense. It is practice in aligning your physical form with your spiritual truth. Practice. As you sip water today, imagine drinking liquid gold. Feel wealth flowing through this simplest act. Let each swallow remind you that abundance nourishes every cell of your being. This practice transforms routine into ritual, mundane into sacred, lack into limitless supply. Chapter 22. The Harmony of Relationships. In a small desert town, an artisan named Carrie Lou crafted intricate jewelry from silver and stone. Despite her talent, success eluded her until she understood a fundamental truth about abundance. It flourishes in the Garden of Unity. Each morning, alone in her workshop, Carrie Lou's creativity felt constrained, her designs uninspired. Yet when she began sharing her workspace with other craftspeople, something magical transpired. Ideas flowed more freely, opportunities multiplied, and her work took on new life. The universe operates through harmony, not isolation. Like instruments in an orchestra, individual notes become magnificent when played in concert. Your abundance multiplies when you attune to this natural law of mutual elevation. Consider how wealth moves through networks of aligned spirits. When hearts beat in rhythm with shared purpose, the universe's response amplifies. This is not mere collaboration. It is spiritual resonance that opens channels of prosperity for all involved. A wandering storyteller named Samuel arrived in town, carrying tales of distant lands. Rather than performing alone, he invited local musicians, dancers, and artists to weave their gifts into his narratives. Their combined talents drew larger audiences than any could attract alone. Soon, the entire community prospered. Shopkeepers, innkeepers, and artisans all benefited from the growing crowds. Samuel's success emerged not from outshining others, but from creating space for collective brilliance. "A rising tide lifts all boats," he would say, "but first we must join our waters." This truth echoes across time. Abundance flows most generously when hearts unite in celebration of each other's gifts. Your prosperity need not dim another's light. Instead, let it kindle more flames. When you genuinely wish for others' success, you align with the universe's natural tendency toward expansion. The ancient practice. As you move through your day, offer this silent blessing to each person you encounter. May you prosper easily. Notice how this simple act transforms the energy around you, creating a field of abundance that naturally includes you in its embrace. Chapter 23. The Energy of Service. A young man named Willie Jean spent his days counting hours at a small accounting firm, his spirit dimming with each passing moment. Though his calculations were precise, his heart remained empty, and prosperity seemed to mock him from a distance. Each evening he would gaze at his reflection, wondering why success eluded him despite his diligent pursuit. Until one morning, when an old ledger fell from his shelf, revealing a forgotten truth written in faded ink. Wealth flows not to those who grasp, but through those who serve. These words stirred something ancient within him, a remembrance of purpose long buried beneath ambition. The universe speaks through the language of service, for in giving freely of our gifts, we align with the natural flow of abundance. When you serve with joy, you become a channel through which infinite supply must flow. This is not martyrdom or sacrifice, but the purest expression of your divine nature. In a quiet corner of town lived Samuel, a barber whose hands had shaped the confidence of countless souls. He approached each haircut as though sculpting light itself, his movements flowing with devotion and care. While others rushed through their work, Samuel saw each client as an opportunity to create beauty, to serve with his whole heart. "Each strand of hair," he would say, his eyes twinkling, "carries the story of someone's dreams. My hands simply help those dreams take shape." As his reputation grew, so did his prosperity, not because he sought it, but because he had forgotten to count the coins while counting blessings instead. The universe responds not to what we take, but to what we offer. When service becomes your signature, abundance becomes your shadow, following naturally without effort or strain. This is the sacred alchemy of giving. What flows through you must first fill you. Willie Jean observed how Samuel's small barber shop overflowed with both customers and joy. The barber never advertised, yet people traveled miles seeking not just his skill, but the light that radiated through his work. His prosperity emerged not from strategy, but from sincere devotion to serving others. Through Samuel's example, Willie Jean understood. True wealth arrives when we stop asking what we can get and start offering what we uniquely are. Service is not a path to abundance. It is abundance expressing itself through you. Ancient practice. As the sun sets today, perform one act of kindness with your whole heart. Whether grand or small matters not. What matters is the joy you pour into it. As you serve, whisper inwardly, "Thank you, universe, for allowing abundance to flow through my hands." Feel how giving itself becomes receiving, how service transforms into celebration. Chapter 24. The Timeless Now. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Hattie Mae stood before her small shop window, gazing at the empty tables within. Each morning she would imagine customers filling her boutique, yet her attention always drifted to tomorrow's possibilities rather than today's gifts. The weight of waiting had become her constant companion. Time itself seemed to mock her desires, as minutes stretched into hours, and hours into days of unfulfilled dreams. Yet unknown to Hattie Mae, the very act of waiting was creating a barrier between her and the abundance that sought to reach her. The universe operates in eternal nowness. When you project your dreams into some distant future, you unconsciously tell the universal forces that manifestation belongs to tomorrow, not today. This subtle resistance creates a perpetual gap between desire and fulfillment. One afternoon, while lost in thoughts of when, Hattie Mae's gaze fell upon an old clockmaker's shop across the street. Through its window she observed the craftsman, his weathered hands moving with deliberate presence over each timepiece. His eyes sparkled with joy as he worked, completely absorbed in each moment. Intrigued, she crossed the street and entered his shop. The walls were lined with clocks of all sizes, each one marking time with perfect precision. Yet the clockmaker himself seemed untouched by time's passing. "These timepieces," he said, noting her interest, "they don't measure time. They celebrate the eternal now. Each tick is complete in itself, carrying the perfection of the present moment." His words struck something deep within Hattie Mae. She realized that while her shop stood empty, she had been filling it with the heavy energy of waiting rather than the light touch of nowness. The clockmaker shared his wisdom. When you align with the present moment, you align with the creative force of the universe. Tomorrow's dreams can only manifest through today's alignment. Each moment holds infinite potential, but only if we're present to receive it. This truth transformed Hattie Mae's relationship with time. She learned that manifestation flows not from future longing, but from present being. Each moment became an opportunity to align with abundance, rather than a step toward some distant goal. Like the clockmaker's precise movements, she began to infuse each present moment with conscious awareness. Her shop, though still quiet, began to feel different, alive with possibility rather than heavy with waiting. The practice. Find a quiet space and settle into your chair. Take a slow, conscious breath, feeling the moment expand around you. As you exhale, gently whisper, "Now is complete." Let these words dissolve any tension about future outcomes, anchoring you in the perfect completeness of this moment. Chapter 25. The Gold Behind Failure. In a small mountain village, Lenny Burt stood before his empty storefront, hands trembling as he turned the key one last time. 3 generations of family business ended. The weight of defeat pressed against his chest like a stone. What Lenny didn't know then was that the universe speaks in the language of contrast. Each apparent loss carries within it the seed of greater gain, not as comfort, but as cosmic law. The path of manifestation moves not in straight lines, but in spirals. When you align with this truth, setbacks transform from obstacles into opportunities for energetic realignment. Your perceived failures are not punishments, but precise adjustments moving you toward your highest good. In the depths of his despair, Lenny encountered Thomas, an old miner whose weathered face mapped 1,000 disappointments. "For 30 years," Thomas shared, "I followed what I thought was gold, only to hit dead end after dead end. Each collapse felt like betrayal." But Thomas's story didn't end in the darkness. After his final devastating cave-in, he discovered something remarkable. The very rock that blocked his path contained trace elements pointing to a new deposit, one that would have remained hidden had he succeeded in his original direction. "The universe," Thomas explained, gently tapping his pickaxe against stone, "never works against us. It simply knows the shortest path isn't always the straightest." This truth illuminates a fundamental principle of manifestation. Contrast creates clarity. Each no from the universe more clearly defines your yes. Each closed door increases the magnetism drawing you toward the open one. Lenny began to see his store's closure differently. The energy that had been bound up in maintaining tradition was now free to seek new expression. Within months, he discovered his true calling, teaching others the very lessons his apparent failure had revealed. The law of attraction responds not to your circumstances, but to your relationship with them. When you resist what appears as failure, you create energetic friction that blocks flow. But when you embrace contrast as clarity, you transform resistance into resonance. Tonight's practice. Sit in stillness and bring to mind what you once viewed as your greatest failure. Hold it gently in your awareness, not as a wound, but as a waypoint. Breathe deeply and say, "Divine intelligence, I now understand this experience as perfect guidance. Thank you for showing me the way." Feel the energy of that past moment transform from weight into wings. Let gratitude fill the space where regret once lived. Chapter 26. The Rhythm of Receiving. A shaft of morning light streams through Effie Rose's window as she kneels in her garden, sharing her prized tomatoes with neighbors. Her weathered hands distribute the bounty with joy, yet when Mrs. Thompson offers to help carry water for her struggling roses, Effie's smile tightens. "No, thank you," she says reflexively. "I can manage." The universe operates through an eternal dance of giving and receiving. Like the inhale that must follow every exhale, receiving completes the sacred circuit of abundance. Those who only give create an energetic imbalance, a resistance to the natural flow of life's gifts. When you close yourself to receiving, you declare to the universe that you must earn everything through effort alone. This subtle form of pride masks itself as independence, yet it denies the fundamental truth. Abundance delights in flowing freely to open vessels. Consider how a flower receives sunlight and rain without question or strain. It does not earn these gifts. It simply opens to them in perfect trust. This is the higher wisdom of receiving. To accept with grace is to honor the giver and the gift alike. In a small mountain village lived an elderly weaver named Agnes who, like Effie, took pride in being self-sufficient. Each morning she would struggle alone with her heavy water jugs, politely declining offers of help from concerned neighbors. But when winter came and illness left her bedridden, Agnes faced a choice: accept help or suffer alone. With trembling hands, she finally received the soup her neighbor brought, the firewood the young men stacked, the company of women who sat beside her bed. And in that surrender, Agnes discovered something profound. Her acceptance gave others the gift of giving. Her village grew closer, warmer, more connected through her willingness to receive. As Agnes healed, she understood that receiving was not weakness, but wisdom. The universe had taught her through circumstance what her pride had refused to learn through choice: that giving and receiving are one movement, like the rising and falling of a dancer's breath. So too must you recognize that receiving with grace magnifies abundance for all. When you accept a gift, a compliment, or assistance with genuine gratitude, you complete a circuit of energy that uplifts both giver and receiver. You declare to the universe, "I am worthy of receiving freely, just as I give freely." Practice. The next time someone offers help or kindness, breathe deeply and say yes with heartfelt ease. Chapter 27. The Invisible Proof. In a sunlit studio, Sammy Lou paces anxiously between unfinished canvases, checking her phone for gallery responses. Her manifestation journal lies untouched, its chapters filled with crossed-out dates and expectations. "Show me first," she whispers to the universe. "Then I'll believe." The ancient law speaks differently. Faith is not the result of manifestation. It is the seed. Your belief must precede the physical proof, for matter follows the blueprint of conviction. When you demand evidence before trust, you create the very delay you fear. The universe responds not to what your eyes see, but to what your heart knows with unwavering certainty. Every masterpiece exists first in the unseen realm, waiting for someone brave enough to believe it into being. In the heart of the city, an old sculptor named Thomas stands before a massive block of marble. His hands trace the air around the stone with reverence, eyes gleaming with recognition. "She's already in there," he tells his apprentice. "I can feel her dancing." Day after day, he chips away with absolute conviction, guided by a vision only he can see. Passers-by shake their heads at what appears to be a shapeless mass. But Thomas works with the serene confidence of one who knows, not hopes, but knows, that beauty awaits revelation. Months later, when the statue emerges in perfect grace, onlookers marvel at the transformation. "How did you know?" they ask. Thomas simply smiles. "I believed in her first." This truth echoes through every success. Those who prosper are those who dare to trust before evidence appears. Your faith is not blind wishfulness. It is the very force that shapes reality. Like Thomas with his marble, you must learn to perceive completion in the midst of process. The practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and imagine walking through your home 1 year from today. See the evidence of your prosperity displayed with pride, the achievements framed on walls, the manifest dreams filling each room. Touch these unseen treasures with your heart's hands. Whisper your gratitude for their presence, feeling the deep knowing that they already exist in the eternal now. Let your thankfulness ring with the certainty of one who sees beyond time's illusion. Your faith becomes the chisel that reveals what was always there, waiting to be believed into being. This visualization is a sacred communion between present awareness and the reality of your becoming. By walking through the imagined home of your future, you are not indulging fantasy but entering the vibrational truth of your potential, a dimension where all creation already resides. Each imagined object, each symbol of success and fulfillment, is an echo of your inner expansion made visible. As you explore these rooms, you are not visiting a dream. You are remembering a destiny that your soul has already chosen. Your gratitude becomes the bridge between worlds. The act of giving thanks for what is yet unseen dissolves the barrier between someday and now. It signals to the universe that you recognize abundance as your natural state, not a distant reward. In that recognition, you begin to magnetize the conditions, ideas, and encounters that align with your vision. What you bless with belief moves closer. What you honor with gratitude crystallizes into form. Through this practice, you wield faith as a sculptor's tool. Each breath, each whisper of thankfulness carves away doubt until the masterpiece of your reality stands revealed. You discover that manifestation is less about striving and more about remembering, unveiling what has always been encoded within your heart's knowing. The home you walk through in your mind is already being built in the unseen. With every moment of sincere gratitude, you step closer to its doorway until imagination and embodiment become one radiant truth. Chapter 28. Completion Energy. Along the dusty shelves of her workshop, Bonnie Ray's half-finished projects stand as silent witnesses to scattered energy. Wooden figurines await their final polish. Fabric remains unstitched and letters lie unsealed. Each beginning sparkles with promise, yet fades before completion, leaving traces of untapped potential in their wake. The universal truth whispers, everything seeks completion. Just as nature completes each cycle, from seed to flower, from moon to full, your creations yearn for closure. Every unfinished task carries a portion of your energy, tethered to its incompletion. In a small village, a seamstress named Martha works steadily at her craft. Her fingers dance across fabric, never abandoning a piece until the final stitch settles into place. The last stitch, she often says, holds more power than all others combined. Her prosperity flows not from starting many projects, but from finishing each one with care. Martha's small shop thrives while others struggle. Customers sense the completeness in her work, the way each garment carries the signature of wholeness. One day, a wealthy merchant asks her secret. She smiles, holding up a simple dress. See how the final stitch closes the circuit? When we complete our work, we complete ourselves. The universe responds to completion. Your energy moves in circuits, flowing through everything you begin. Each unfinished project becomes a break in the circuit, dispersing the power of your intent. But when you complete what you start, you seal these circuits, allowing energy to flow back multiplied. This law operates beyond the material, in relationships, in promises, in the smallest daily tasks. Every completion strengthens your magnetic field, attracting greater opportunities. Each finished project becomes a testament to your commitment, a signal to the universe of your readiness to receive. The seamstress's wisdom echoes through time. Completion itself generates currency, both energetic and material. When you honor your beginnings with endings, you demonstrate mastery over the cycles of creation. The universe recognizes this mastery and responds with increased flow. Ancient practice. Choose one unfinished task that has lingered in your space or mind. Before you begin, place your hands over your heart and acknowledge the dispersed energy waiting to return. Complete this task with full presence, feeling the power flowing back into your being with each step toward completion. As you place the final touch, whisper, "I seal this circuit of creation." Feel the subtle shift as your energy field strengthens, now unbroken by incomplete patterns. This practice is a gentle ritual of reclamation, an act of calling home the scattered fragments of your focus and vitality. Every unfinished task holds a portion of your energy suspended in waiting. By pausing first with your hands over your heart, you acknowledge this truth with reverence rather than judgment. In that moment of awareness, what once felt like burden begins to transform into opportunity, a chance to restore integrity to your field of creation. As you engage the task, your attention becomes alchemical. Each movement, each mindful action gathers what was dispersed and weaves it back into coherence. The simple act of completion ceases to be mundane. It becomes a spiritual exercise in energetic wholeness. You are not merely finishing something external. You are reweaving your own rhythm, reminding your being what it feels like to move in harmony with intention and follow-through. When you whisper, "I seal this circuit of creation," you anchor a new pattern in your consciousness, one of closure, flow, and empowerment. The space once occupied by procrastination now vibrates with clarity and renewal. In that subtle yet profound shift, you feel the quiet confidence of mastery, not over the task itself, but over your own energy. What was once incomplete becomes sacredly whole, and through that wholeness, your life begins to hum with effortless alignment once again. Chapter 29. The Highest Investment. In a gleaming penthouse overlooking the city, Irving Dale surrounds himself with luxuries that speak of status but whisper of emptiness. His collection of watches remains unworn, his rare wines unopened, his art pieces admired only by guests who measure worth in dollars rather than meaning. Within you lies an infinite vault of potential, waiting to be developed. While the outer world beckons with promises of quick fulfillment, true abundance flows from the depths of inner mastery. Each moment invested in self-development yields returns far beyond material acquisition. The universal law reveals that external wealth mirrors internal growth. When you cultivate wisdom, understanding, and spiritual awareness, your outer reality must expand to match this elevated consciousness. Just as a tree grows from within, prosperity blooms from the seeds of self-knowledge. In a modest apartment across town lives Thomas, a violinist who spends hours perfecting single notes until they sing with pure intention. His dedication attracts students willing to travel continents for his guidance. While others chase applause, Thomas pursues excellence. His wealth flows naturally from mastery rather than display. "I don't play music," Thomas often says. "I become the music." His violin case contains no velvet lining, yet his concerts sell out months in advance. The universe responds not to the instrument's price, but to the devotion flowing through its strings. Your journey to abundance begins with this truth. What you become is infinitely more valuable than what you acquire. Every hour spent in contemplation, every insight gained through study, Every moment of focused self-improvement compounds like interest in the cosmic bank of consciousness. The ancient practice dedicate 1 hour today to absolute stillness or concentrated self-study. Find a quiet space where interruption cannot reach you. Whether you choose to meditate, read wisdom teachings, or simply sit in silent reflection, know that this investment in your inner development multiplies beyond measure. Watch how your energy shifts as you prioritize depth over display. This hour of intentional stillness is a sacred meeting between your awareness and its own infinite depth. By stepping away from the noise of constant motion, you reclaim the forgotten language of silence, the vibration beneath thought where truth quietly resides. As you sit, read, or simply breathe, you are not escaping life but entering its essence, where every moment becomes transparent with meaning. In this chosen solitude, the mind begins to soften, like water settling after a storm. Insights that once seemed distant now rise gently to the surface, not as mental effort, but as remembrance. You start to see how wisdom is less about accumulation and more about attunement, a tuning fork aligning with the higher frequency of your own consciousness. The stillness refines you, polishing perception until clarity itself becomes your natural state. When you return from this inward hour, you will carry a different fragrance, quiet confidence, unforced grace. The outer world may remain the same, but your way of meeting it will not. From that renewed center, even ordinary acts will feel luminous, purposeful, serene. This is how depth reshapes destiny, through the simple decision to pause, to listen, and to let the soul become the teacher once again. Chapter 30. The Circle of Radiance. In the bustling marketplace, Delia Jane sits peacefully amidst the chaos. Her small flowers stand a beacon of tranquility. Where once she chased success with frantic energy, she now emanates a quiet certainty that draws people naturally to her presence. Each bloom she arranges becomes an offering of beauty, not merely a transaction. You have journeyed through the layers of manifestation, from the initial spark of thought to the magnetic pull of emotion, and finally to the art of peaceful surrender. Now stands before you the ultimate truth. Abundance flows not from what you possess, but from who you have become. Watch how Delia Jane moves through her day. Each gesture carries the grace of someone who knows their infinite worth. When customers approach, she sees not potential profit, but souls seeking connection. Her smile holds no agenda. Her words carry no desperate need to convince. She has discovered that serenity itself is the highest currency. As her inner peace deepens, mysterious forces begin to align. A wealthy patron discovers her humble shop and commissions arrangements for grand events. Yet Delia Jane's joy remains unchanged, neither elevated by success nor diminished by quiet days. She has learned to be the eye of the storm, where abundance flows through her rather than to her. Her very presence transforms those around her. The once grumpy baker next door finds himself whistling as he kneads his dough. The anxious student who stops for daily flowers gradually discovers her own inner calm. Without speaking of manifestation or abundance, Delia Jane becomes a living testament to these principles. This is the final secret. When you embody wealth consciousness, you become a channel through which universal abundance flows to all. Your peace becomes a gift to the world, your joy a catalyst for collective prosperity. You no longer need to chase success. You simply allow it to express itself through your being. The ancient practice of radiance. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises or sets. Sit comfortably and breathe deeply until you feel centered in your own presence. Allow a gentle smile to touch your lips. Feel the wealth of peace within your heart expanding outward in golden waves. Without words or effort, let your inner light shine forth as a blessing for all beings. Recognize that in this moment of pure giving, you complete the circle of universal abundance. Your radiant joy becomes both the gift and the receiving, the seed and the harvest, the beginning and the completion of all prosperity. This practice is a sacred act of alignment with the rhythm of life itself. In the hush of dawn, or the soft glow of dusk, you step into nature's breath, the great inhale and exhale of creation. Breathing deeply, you attune your pulse to that of the earth, and in this stillness, the illusion of separation dissolves. You realize that peace is not something you must earn or create. It is already flowing, already present within you, waiting to be felt and shared. As your heart radiates warmth, the golden waves you envision become a subtle current of blessing that touches everything, seen and unseen. This quiet radiance is your true power, not in control, but in communion. Each pulse of love you emit nourishes the collective field, balancing what has been fragmented, soothing what has been restless. You are not merely sending light, you are remembering that you are the light, infinitely giving, infinitely replenished. Through this recognition, the boundaries between giving and receiving vanish. Prosperity reveals itself as a cycle of energy, eternally circulating through you as both vessel and source. Your joy, born from the stillness of your own heart, becomes the essence of abundance itself, a self-sustaining flame that brightens the world simply by being. In this silent offering, you complete the circle of creation. You become the sunrise and the sunset, the blessing and the blessed, the eternal dance of wholeness made visible. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through the unfolding of these sacred principles, you have discovered wealth's deepest secret. It flows naturally through those who remember their divine inheritance. Your journey through these teachings has transformed you into a clear channel, where abundance moves without resistance or doubt. The law of attraction reveals itself not as a method of acquisition, but as a mirror reflecting your inner state. As you emanate peace, peace returns. As you radiate abundance, abundance responds. As you embody joy, joy multiplies. The universe simply matches your frequency with perfect precision. Your role now is not to proclaim these truths, but to live them silently. Let your presence speak of prosperity. Let your calm certainty inspire others. Let your natural generosity demonstrate the overflow principle. The world will learn more from your quiet example than from any words you could share. You have ascended through the degrees of inner wealth by releasing the need to chase, grasp, or prove. In its place blooms a deep knowing, an unshakable trust in the perfect orchestration of universal forces. Your gratitude flows not from what you receive, but from what you've become, a living testament to abundance itself. When thought surrenders to trust, when desire dissolves into appreciation, when giving becomes as natural as breathing, then you have embodied the highest truth. You are no longer seeking wealth. You are wealth expressing itself through human form. This awareness is the crown of the 33rd degree, where having and being merge into one continuous stream of grace. Your prosperity now serves as a lighthouse, silently guiding others to their own remembrance. Through your centered presence, you demonstrate that abundance was never about accumulation. It was always about alignment with the infinite source that lives within all things.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.